So when you're finished with your project, of course you want to export it as a finished video with everything baked in, the titles, the transitions, the effects, everything, and you need to export it so perhaps you can share it with people or save it for yourself, whatever you're going to do with it. So you need to export it, and you can get to the export options one of two ways. One is go to File, Share, and there are the export options. You also have this button here, the Share button. So you're actually looking for Share, not Export. Now there are many different options here that are there by default. And you can use one of these, but primarily what you're probably going to do is use Command E for exporting a master file. Now there are ways to export directly to YouTube or Facebook. My advice is not to use these. It's very easy to upload to both of those platforms on the web, and you have all of your options available when you do that. But exporting using the YouTube and Facebook options here give you a limited set of options, and it's better just to export a file, get it like you want, and then upload a normal way. So we're going to use master file here, default here. And there aren't actually that many exporting options. Most people using Final Cut will of course be uploading their video to a video service, like for instance YouTube or perhaps Vimeo or some other place. And when you export to a service like that, you want to provide the highest possible quality you can, because the service is going to take that video and reprocess it and create a nice streaming version of it. So no matter what you do with your compression and your settings, it's going to be recompressed and the settings are going to be reset for that service. So just providing a really good copy for them to be able to use is the best option. For instance, if somebody with a low bandwidth connection is going to be viewing it, they may be viewing a 640 by 360 video that is kind of choppy because they don't have a very fast connection, and the streaming service is going to send them that copy and stream it to them. But if somebody has a great connection, they may be viewing a 4K version of it. So you've got info, settings, and roles here. The main thing that you need to worry about is settings. So you go into settings, and here's where you can set the format. Under format, you just want to choose video and audio, but we're going to look at some of these other options here in a minute. So choosing video and audio, of course, the video codec you want to use is a variety of different uncompressed or ProRes versions of the file. All of these except for H.264 are going to produce huge files. But if you're working on a movie or you're working on something for television and you want to produce the highest possible quality, drive space is not an issue, then you're going to want to use one of these, whatever it is your shop is using. Apple ProRes 422 is probably a common one now, and that's why it's the default. But if you're producing something to upload, then these files are probably going to be way too big to actually upload, even with great bandwidth. H.264 is what you want. It's going to be standard compressed video. You select that, and basically then you have all your settings. Under Action, you can decide what happens when the export is done. Here it's going to open up the video in QuickTime Player, but you could just change it to Save Only, just to save, and you decide what to do with the file. You get here an estimate of the file size and other information about the file. And you can then use Next, and then it's basically a Save File dialog. You call it whatever you want and you save it out. And that'll save out a standard H.264 video that just about anybody on any modern computer can view, and any service online will accept when you upload it. You can, if you want, choose one of these other things here, like Apple devices specifically designed for just Apple computers. Like you want to send it to another Apple device, maybe an iPad or an Apple TV, you could use that. Computers more cross-platform, and web hosting is more for if you want to actually upload a video to your site and actually stream that video from your site. So not YouTube, but a case where you have your own website, your own server, and you're going to upload the file directly to it. So if we were to select computer, then we can see other options here. Video codecs are just two now. Faster encode and better quality. And obviously you want to choose better quality whenever you can, but if you're in a rush or maybe you're just producing a copy right now just to view and see how you like it, not the final one, you can choose faster encode so you can export it quicker. Resolution, you can go up to whatever the resolution is of your video. In this case, all of the clips I used were 4K. So I have the option to export 4K. But if I had been using clips that were only regular HD, then I would have to use this. I wouldn't have this option. But it is nice to be able to drop down where you can't do that using the video and audio here. So it's nice to be able to switch to computer and drop down to 1920 1080 if that's what I want using Format Computer. And then it's going to show me the file size here. And that's all you can really do. You probably were expecting a complex set of controls for exporting, but in fact most of the time you just use video and audio, H.264, and export that way. You can do some other things. If you go to File, Share, notice that there are some other options here. For instance, I can say, okay, Apple devices 1080, and then you can see the settings have simply gone straight to Apple devices 1080. So that was just a shortcut. But if you look here, you can see Add Destination. So under Add Destination, you can create your own destination. With this selected here, I can select one of these. So I can double click Export File. Under Export File here, I can say, well, I want to do it video and audio. I want to use H.264 all the time and it's save only. And that would be a really quick way for me to export because now Export File is going to be an option as well as Master File and these other things. But also notice under Add Destination there's compressor settings. So this is how you actually create a complex set of presets. Here you can see there are some built-in ones and there are a bunch of different compressor settings. I'm not sure if you'll see these. I have Compressor installed. So Compressor is an add-on to Final Cut Pro, just like I mentioned Apple Motion before. Apple Compressor is something you can get in the App Store, and it allows you to basically set up export options for Final Cut Pro. But you can also use Compressor as a standalone app to compress video. So you can say in Compressor, I want to export H.264 at a certain bit rate with certain settings, and then you can use Compressor to recompress existing video, or you can save that setting in Compressor, and then when you choose Compressor settings here, you'll find it instead of built-in under Custom. That will be your own custom setting. So if you really have the need for custom export settings, you have to get Compressor. Final Cut Pro won't do it on its own. But as I said before, the standard export is what you would normally use just with H.264 to go to send it to YouTube, to send it to Facebook, to send it to any other online service, and let that service then recompress the video instead of you trying to set specific settings here on your export.